So thanks for having me here. Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a great Friday evening. Unlike Satyan, I'm not planning to present any slides. So, all right. So my name is Upasna, engineering undergrad and engineering masters from Stanford. Spent my formative years in the Valley with PayPal as a product manager. So when I moved back to India explicitly to do a startup, I was pretty sure that I didn't want to really do payments because I'd already spent 3.5 years doing that. But luckily or unluckily for me, ended up meeting my co-founder Bipin, and he got started on the MobiKwik journey. So here's a secret for everyone, which not many people know. He started the company himself, and I actually joined him 6-7 months later when all the initial couple of people he had started with, they chickened out because they were surprised they had not reached millions of users in 6 months. So that was quite interesting. That something that I was not willing to jump for initially, I realized that I should jump for it once I saw the initial product and the conviction of the first founder. Coming on to what is MobiKwik. MobiKwik started as a simple wallet website. And the first use case we wanted to power for the Indian user was the simplest use case, which is bill payments, which is mobile recharge, electricity, Tata Sky, all of those. And that by itself has now about, I think we have 250 plus billers in that use case. Over the next few years, we built out other use cases, which is enabling MobiKwik as a checkout option on e-commerce merchants. So that would be your Swiggy, Zomato, Indian Railways, etc. We also built out a payment processing business at the same time. And then we also forayed into enabling payments in physical stores, which is, scan the QR code. Along the years, I forgot to mention, first 4 years of the company, we were self-funded, bootstrapped, profitable. I still remember we rented one of those 5-bedroom, DDA apartment complexes as an office. And I believe we had about 35 people and we were profitable. That's when we raised our, first money, when we were quite confident that the product could scale. So very much a product driven company. And product has been one of the single largest reasons for our success. The preamble here is that Android has been very important for us. So while we started as a website, we were very early to the apps business, both Android and iOS, although Android, as we know, is the lion's share in India. And just the sheer simplicity of our product helped us reach millions of users. Now coming to the user itself, and how we have diversified in the last couple of years. So our user is not a user who has gone to Stanford or, IITs and IIMs. Also, although there might be some of, us who use apps like MobiKwik, including MobiKwik, that is not really the target user. The target user is the middle class, the burgeoning middle class of India, about 400 million people. Take home salary is anywhere between 2 lakhs to 12 lakh rupees. And that's sort of the target user. Most cases still don't have a personal computing device outside of a smartphone and have the aspirational capabilities of wanting to do more, using their new salaries that they're coming into. Obviously, the population is also quite young. Now, coming to a large diversified payments business, the larger focus has been consumer payments, as I mentioned. So we have about 125 million users who have signed up with us. On a quarterly basis, about 15 million are active. On a daily basis, about 4 million would be active right until March. The April number is slightly lower than that, but actually not that bad either. And so one of the important things that we figured out a couple of years ago, right after demonetization, after, we spent time and energy expanding into the physical use cases, which is petrol pumps, kirana stores, sabji places, and recharge stores, all of that. We made sure that we were accepted in all of these places, spent a bomb of money on that. And then we realized that it's going to take some time. All of that money is going to, give an payback immediately. The other larger realization was that while digital payments continues to grow in India, and it will continue for the next 2 decades, the other big opportunity is financial services. And to explain that, I'll just give you one simple information. India has about 800 million bank accounts in India. And mapped to those, an equal number or 788 million debit cards to be precise. And we have 50 million credit cards. And the amount of money spent every month pre-COVID by 788 million debit cards is equal to the amount of money spent by 50 million credit cards. So the point I'm trying to make here is that India is no longer unbanked. India is banked. Almost everyone has a bank account. I'm not even counting the Jan Dhan accounts in this. But not everyone who has a bank account is well banked. And by that, I mean that sure, they have a checking/savings account and they have a debit card, but they have actually no access to financial products. Satyen was talking about wealth management. No government bank is offering any low ticket size wealth products to any of their users who are making 3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees per annum. Private banks only cater to the top 100 million Indians in terms of their economic earnings. And, so the HDFCs, ICICI, Kotak, Axis, they are all serving the upwardly mobile, our cohort of users. But everyone below the top 100 million users does not have access to credit for real reasons, for education, for business, buying a computer, and also does not have access to insurance either. So we all know the percentage of users in India who have insurance is still in the 3.7%. Access to credit is in the 6 to 7% range. And so we thought of that as an opportunity to expand. So we leveraged our product and our data. And we know that payments is essentially for us now what a bank account is for a bank. No bank makes money from getting a user to open a bank account. It's from cross-selling all the other products that the banks make money. And so we latched onto that idea. And in the last years, we focused very heavily on building out digital credit linked into our wallet. So we've given out about 400 crores in credit to about 1.5 million users in the last 2 years. And they're all small ticket loans, anywhere from 5,000 rupees to 50,000 rupees. The process is simple. It's based on the data that we have on the user, because all our users use our app. We have access to a lot of data, which we have mined using machine learning to build our own credit models. And because the dispersal of this credit is mapped to the wallet, it actually accentuates our payments business. So the user actually ends up using the wallet like a credit card, because the credit linked to the wallet. So now they could buy that, pay for groceries, put petrol, whatever it is that you would do with a credit card. And, that has been sort of our go forward growth strategy in terms of being focused on profitability, being focused on growth, but not just growth in terms of vanity numbers of users, numbers of transactions, but actually hardcore revenue. And aside from credit, in the last couple of years, we've also launched micro insurance. So while there are large players like Policybazaar and others playing in this space, again, they have longer processes, higher ticket size products, and our go-to market is again very sachet. So premiums on MobiKwik app start as low as 50 rupees, going to 200, 300 rupees. Even a 50 rupee or 100 rupee insurance premium can give you a 1 lakh or 2 lakh life cover, personal accident cover, fire cover, whatever it is. So that's sort of the high level discussion on what MobiKwik is doing in India. In terms of financial performance, I'm actually very proud. This is our 10th year of operation. And last 3 years, we have more than doubled our revenue every year. So we went from 7 million in Sorry, that's my clock for the 10-minute timeline. From FY17, from 7 million revenues, FY18, we got to 14 million. From 14 million, we got to 26 million. And this March, we have clocked revenues of 62 million. So it's been great going for us in terms of the strategy that we have picked up. Of course, there are a lot of question marks, detractors, but we are happy. And I'm personally very happy with the fact that we set ourselves a goal in 2018, early 2018, we set ourselves a goal that we must get to profitability by 2020. And I want to tell you that in August 2019, we turned profitable. So not profitable by a huge amount, but hey, break even on a monthly basis. So while we clocked, as of March 2020, we clocked 62 million in revenues, we only burnt $4 million for the entire year. And so FY21 was going to be my big year, but we'll see what happens with COVID. But I'm happy we are in control of our destiny, and whether or not we hit the markets for an IPO now in the time frame we had set, perhaps it will get delayed by a year thanks to COVID. But we are happy with the strategy. We are happy with the way we are going, and we are focused, and we'll continue disrupting fintech and payments as we go along. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Upasana. That was fantastic. Can you see the questions on the chat screen?
Yes, I can.
Amazing.
Okay, there are a lot of questions. How would you disrupt? What has been your experience on defaults? Okay, yeah, these are all unsecured loans, small ticket unsecured lending. Yes, mostly consumer. We also have a large merchant base, but we have done mostly consumer loans so far, very little merchant loans. Okay, what is one of the interesting things I've covered about these consumers? So I think what we have found is that interestingly, consumers who are with our platform for at least 6 months have much stronger predictability, and our default rates there are very low, actually close to zero. It's the newer customers where the retention on payments is anyways in question, where we see worse performance. But also interestingly, we find that customers in this bracket are many times customers who are not getting loans otherwise, so they would be willing to go to any interest rates. But if there are others here who are doing fintech lending businesses, I would say that do not do very high interest rates on them, because they'll agree to anything to get a loan. Something that you think commensurate to their income and EMIs that they will be able to pay easily is the right balancing number, I would say.
Thank you.
What do you see the next big growth given competition? Okay, so that's interesting. Payments has always been a highly competitive space in India. So we are used to a lot of competition in waves. People come and go. And I thought I tried to explain that, we are not going after the whole UPI bandwagon, because I think once Google and WhatsApp have put their mind to it, I think others should just, or Jio has put it in mind, I think everyone should just step aside. So therefore, we are trying to create a very differentiated credit-backed play for ourselves, which would enable our users to be retained. Because while they are, using UPI on other platforms, if my app is the single source of their regular credit line, then to that extent, their retention will be to our platform. So that's sort of the strategy we are taking. Everyone else can do whatever they want, start malls, become banks, but I'm going to do my thing.